Make It Loud Studios presents Improving Your Digital Marketing with John and Cliff.
All right, we should be ready to go.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we can try it.
All right.
I'm afraid.
Here we go.
I'm nervous.
Are you?
A little bit.
Why? It's been a while since we've chatted a little bit, Muffy.
Well, hey there. Muff-along.
Muff-along.
Oh, my God.
So how you been?
I've been sick as a dog.
That's good.
I've got the plague.
Too. You did. You gave me the first plague. Actually, you gave me the first
I
plague.
think you gave it to me.
The plague of the cough.
If you keep
was
kissing
terrible.
me, it's your fault.
I don't even know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah, I don't either. So what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about AI.
Why are we whispering?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Because we're afraid that Google might hear us.
It's Google's world, and we're just living in it.
Oh, this is really kind of true.
Yeah, it is. I'm just getting by.
You
So
are.
AI is a thing now.
It is
It's
a thing.
everywhere. You can't avoid it.
So, I mean, people come in and they're like, and some are like gun-ho. They're like, I got to invest in AI. I got to go do this. I want AI to go do this and go do that and go do this and go do that. And guess what?
What?
Some of the things they want it to do, it's really kind of not there yet.
No? Like vacuuming my house?
It doesn't do that so well.
Can I walk my dog?
Maybe.
I don't think so. My dog's gone.
Yeah, you don't have a dog. Dog
Sure.
on.
I'm very sad about that. Way to bring up that
It
trauma.
really is, it really is sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I mean, people envision AI doing lots of things, and some things it does very, very well, and some things perhaps it does not do very, very well. And it's hard to kind of know what a small business owner or business owner in general should invest in.
Right. I do applaud their imagination, though, because that's really
It really
the
is.
limitation that AI is heading for. There are some experts that guess or that estimate that AI will be sentient by 2030. And
They keep saying that.
who knows that? No, I don't know how they even throw a
Right
number
now,
out.
I mean, some of the stuff it does, it kind of acts like a dummy.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's to help people understand AI. It's based on probabilities of what words come after the others, and so from that standpoint, like Google's algorithms,
Like the Google.
plural, yeah, like the Google.
The Google.
I love when people refer to it like that. What? How are we doing in the Google?
The Google.
Yeah, we're doing great. Yeah, so in that sense, AI is just another dumb algorithm that's getting smarter and smarter. So it will teach itself over time, depending on what you're using. But it really does feel like AI is in almost everything now.
It does. I mean, you know,
saturated.
we're starting to see the impact of AI on businesses and on careers and things like that
Sure.
Make it a little more difficult. Coders are we got issues with coders and lots of other places. I mean, if you're if you sit in front of a computer all day, in some respects, your job is probably going to change at the
Yeah, oh,
very
yeah.
least, or go
Sure.
go away. And those things that are analysis and kind of numbers are going to
Right.
be first.
Well, I think it's easy to go, run around like a chicken with your head cut off and go, the sky is falling. I just mix my metaphors, but whatever. It's easy to say the sky is falling and we're all going to be replaced by AI, but
Right.
I don't see it that way. I think that AI, at least in today's world, is more of an amplification tool. That to me is the most effective way to think about it and think about what you're capable of doing online now, then magnify that times 5 or
Mhm.
10 or whatever using AI to eliminate some of the tasks that, are time sucks, manual, repetitive
Yeah.
tasks. AI is pretty good about, taking care of some of that stuff.
Mhm.
Now, I think the pendulum, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, I think the pendulum is going to swing from everybody using AI to people specifically marketing themselves because they may use AI as a foundation, but at the end of all of it, they end up having a human
Human touch.
supervise everything.
Yeah.
And that's how we use it.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
So
Well, if you go back to, we kind of talked about this some in the past. It's like you go back to something similar, and it's like, when computers first became a thing, everybody's afraid, oh, my job's going to go away, my job's going
Right.
to go away. And you know what? There were jobs that went away, but ultimately everybody needed to run those computers that were integrated into businesses and
fix them.
fix them and operate them and do data entry and things like that. And where the workload was here with computers, it became here, and it actually created more jobs than probably it when you think about the impact of computers, it's probably created more jobs than
Yeah,
it got rid of. And
probably.
the question is, will AI do the same thing? And maybe it will, and maybe it won't. I don't know. But I think you're right. I do think in the days ahead, people are going to be looking for a kind of human touch or a human oversight to the thing. And basically, it used the internet for its base of information,
Sure.
right? And we all
And we all
know
know.
the
Yeah.
internet is always right.
Well, let me,
That's a quote
just
from Abraham Lincoln, by the way.
yes, it is. I read that
Did you?
on the internet,
Mhm.
yeah, and
In the Gettysburg Address.
I'm still using glue to keep cheese on my pizza, so that's
Mhm.
good. For those of you who don't know where that came from, that was a sarcastic comment on Reddit that, the internet and AI, either ChatGPT, I think it was ChatGPT, it could have been another
Yeah,
AI, it
didn't
doesn't
somebody
matter.
ask it, "How do I keep the
Yeah,
cheese on my pizza?" And
yeah,
it said, "Glue." Duh.
right, yeah, come on,
Pulled
duh.
something out of a Reddit comment
Yep,
that was
as
sarcastic, and suddenly here it is, promoting this stuff like information that's valuable. And you gotta understand also that when you ask it a question, it's basically scouring articles, which may or may not be true,
correct.
and giving you information and presenting it perhaps like it's truth when it may not be.
And what's interesting is AI presents, well, it's better now. Let's be clear about that. But initially, when ChatGPT hit online, November of 2022, you'd get answers that were confidently hallucinating, and
Yeah, yeah.
that's the part that threw people is, AI tends to confidently put out information, and it can convince you if you're not looking at it with some eye of skepticism. And honestly, you have a degree in history, right?
I do.
Okay, so this is no different than any other technology. I am sure now I wasn't around, shockingly, when fire was invented, okay? But when fire was invented and then somebody came along and invented a lighter, I'm sure everybody went, "Oh my gosh, this is going to change mankind and people will lose fire
Well,
starting
it changed the
jobs."
match business, that's for sure.
Did change the match business. Very fair enough. But, and to my point here, this is what I think is gonna happen. I think AI every technology brings its own advantages and its own consequences. AI is no different. I think that AI will be replacing people's writing skills if we're not careful. So we need to be careful
It's
about that.
destroyed secondary education, as I understand already,
Right,
right?
right, right, right. Yeah, I think that I'm
Nobody's
gonna
writing papers anymore.
don't get me started. Yeah. So I think we got to be careful about the consequences of this advancement, so that we don't lose some basic skills. Just like when I was growing up, we couldn't use calculators in math
No, it's
classes.
really true.
So because calculators could solve all the
Right, and now
problems.
it's like you're required to have one.
Right, right, right. But you still need to know the basic foundations of how the calculator, gets to the answer.
Right.
Uh, so I think the same technique or same issue applies. We need to make sure we're not losing our ability to communicate through the written language, and through, by having AI do all the work.
Mhm.
So I don't think that's any different. But going back to the point about about business owners use AI. Now we all know that AI is very good at content writing. Okay. Yes and no. The key of using AI really, and I've taught this to my staff, and I'm certainly discovering it every day, is everything's in the prompt. Okay. If you have very limited, s- uh, you know, uh, you know, prompts that don't really help AI understand what you're wanting for an output, your output's not going to be that great.
Mhm.
But the more information you give AI up front, the more it can contextualize and figure out what you're looking for, the output's gonna improve.
Mhm.
So, one of the uses are, for example, I always say, "Pretend you are this." My go-to for writing for SEO is pretend you're the world's greatest SEO copywriter, and you're working on X, Y, and Z website, and, then I give it some parameters about what I'm looking for in the output.
Mhm.
The more I can give the specifics on the front end, the better off the output. So
Yeah.
that's one usage, but a lot of business owners aren't sitting around writing content, all day, every day like SEO
Yeah.
nerds,
Yeah,
So
I know. I've been using it, some for image generation, and actually I had one client who came in with a logo that was in fact, we'd done his first website 15 years ago, and his logo was low resolution then,
yeah.
and I'm like, I put it on a new website, he didn't have anything else, and, it looked absolutely terrible when putting it on a brand new website because looking at monitors through CRTs anymore. These
It
big
wasn't
old.
built in Flash?
No, it wasn't. But so I gave it to chat, and what came back, I said, "Hey, take this logo. It's low resolution. Turn it into a high resolution logo, um, keeping the same style." And what it gave me back in one prompt was amazing.
Really?
It was fantastic. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But yesterday I had a client in the same situation. We'd worked with them prior about 10 years ago, and they didn't have a good copy of it. And, um, and I think I gave it to Gemini yesterday. So I gave it to Gemini and I said, "Okay, it's on one line, keep it exactly the same proportions and all of that." And it gave it to me on 2 lines.
Hmm.
I said, "Okay, so let's try this again, but let's put it all on 1 line." And it gave it to me on 2. And I said, "We're gonna try one more time. 1 line means 1 line, all straight in a row." And I tried to define it, and it gave it to me in 2, but just changing where the spacing was on the letters between words. So I'm like, "Can you count?" "Well, yes, I can." I swear I asked it this, "Can you count?" "Well, yes, I can, and I can see that you're frustrated." "Well, yeah, because you can't tell the difference between 1 and 2."
Okay, I just
I swear
you're
this
making me
happened.
think of a cottage industry in the future, relationship counseling between you and your AI.
Telling you the thing ChatGPT's gaslighted me before. I'm like, "F you, there's no way I'm gonna I don't
Oh
take
my
that from
god.
people, much less a fricking computer."
You really
So
do take it from people, though.
nah, let's not get personal.
Okay.
But not anymore,
Right,
damn it.
okay, there we go.
Um,
There's your progress
so
right
I
there.
went on and probably did this for, 20 minutes or so, and the thing could not give me and would not give me a logo as I'd uploaded one that was on one line, it would not give it to me.
Okay,
So I
and
had to get it on 2, and then I kinda put it all together and made it, and it was
here's a tip.
honky dory.
If you have to argue with your AI more than 2 or 3 times
Shut
tops,
up, man.
move to
Are you
another
still
AI.
talking?
Move to another AI.
Gosh.
Break up with that one and move to another one. Well, and to here's the issue. There's certain AIs are better at certain things. So
Well, most of them are in terms of image generation, if you're asking it to do some specific things, particularly, honestly, where typography is concerned,
yeah,
that's where I've really had the most trouble.
is it?
Oh, yeah. Like, I did something else a couple months back and asked it to combine these 2 images, and it did a fantastic job combining the 2 images, and when I put in the text I wanted it to overlay on the image, it was full of spelling errors.
Right.
I'm
I've
like,
seen
"What the
that
heck?
multiple
What
times.
the heck is wrong with you?" You
Yep,
know? I'm
yep.
typing it, "I didn't have a spelling error." "Yes, you did." It's like
You really do.
I swear, it was like I really needed therapy after that.
I'm
It
hanging out a
annoyed me
shingle. I'm your
so
AI
much.
therapist.
Yeah, no, I don't want it to be a therapist, that's for
No,
darn
no, no.
sure.
I'm going to help you have a better
Oh my
relationship
gosh.
with your
Yes, I
AI.
want a better I'm searching for a good AI. Do you know a good AI?
An AI
Looking for
therapist.
there's probably gonna be a Tinder for AIs. So,
Couples counseling.
do I match with Tinder
Yeah.
or whatever the heck else there.
You
Anyways,
know, I bet you there's a therapist somewhere who's sitting with a patient who came in to say, "My relationship with AI is just screwed up. I need
yeah.
repair."
Well, me and ChatGPT, we're like that.
Yeah.
So
Nobody
we
can
are
see that on a
not friends.
podcast.
Yeah, you can. This is going on YouTube.
You're broken up.
So anyways, there's some things that it seems to do well. There's some things that it does not, and it seems like it's in its infancy. My concern also, we had a client. Actually, I think we gave a client a website design, and instead of kind of evaluating it themselves like they really should have, they gave it to ChatGPT and said, "Evaluate this website," and it applied all these hokey articles to the website and says, "This needs to be a ghost button." I'm like, "A ghost? What the heck?" And have the drive it to book online and have the telephone number kind of grayed out, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? People over 40 are going to want to call, and
Sure.
others are gonna wanna more book online. Do you want somebody to opt out because they can't read it?" And then, we got back some data on their website, and their calls traffic is way through the roof. So they'd be shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
So if you're evaluated by these things, and again, AI presents it more like it's truth
Sure.
when it
Confidently wrong.
confidently truth. Yeah, well, of course, put a ghost button in there, but it doesn't think through specific things, and these things may or may not be good for you. So that's where you really do want to trust somebody who has human oversight and experience on these kinds of things. Like we've been in business since 2004. It's been a minute.
Yep. We're old.
You are,
Yeah.
but
You ain't far behind.
we're not talking about that. Actually, somebody has a birthday coming up.
Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
Just
And after
another
60, it doesn't matter
It
anymore,
really
right?
doesn't. It's all downhill.
It is
But
really
now
fun
we've
though.
got clients who are putting their websites into ChatGPT and generating feedback for us. That's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what was
Yeah,
the
with a
what was the
list of
phrase?
like 50
The
things.
buttons don't what? Visually highlight the design.
Oh, no, it
What
wasn't.
was
It's
it?
visual hierarchy.
Oh,
You need
yes.
visual
They don't
hierarchy.
match the visual hierarchy? Is that what it was?
No, it's just they don't represent a
No,
visual
okay. They don't
hierarchy.
represent.
Well,
Okay.
I've got 2
Yeah.
buttons. Which one do you want on top?
Yeah. This is
It's really
from
just not complicated.
right. This is from a
And that's where the go button came. This one
Oh,
should be,
okay. Yeah, yeah.
there's gotta be a hierarchy of the 2 buttons on the website, call or schedule online. It's not hard.
No, and this
Most
person
people can handle those
was
2
not
prompts.
technical, so for
No.
that person to give
No,
us that kind of
but again,
feedback.
that would be the reason they go to it, right? If they feel like they need an enhanced understanding, which I understand,
Sure.
it's like go to it and see what it says and present it. But you can drill down to absolute irrelevancy also in some of this stuff, and it could hurt you. In this particular case, if we done what it said, it would have hurt the client
Right, which
without
goes back
question.
to my original point is human oversight is critical. It has to be
Absolutely.
there. We can't just let these things run. I mean, I'm not ready to bow to my, AI overlord at
No.
this point, and
No.
nor should anybody out there be ready to do that.
But there are also things that are accessible now to small business owners, and in our podcast, we focus primarily on small to medium-sized business owners. You call AT&T now or any of these other big companies, and you're talking to an AI, and it can converse with you and things like that. And guess what? That stuff is now accessible to
Right.
small business owners
Right.
and reasonably priced. We have products like that as well that not only will answer the phone for you, it'll text people. If somebody fills out a form, it'll contact them, reach out to them, try to set up a call, try to drive that traffic and nurture the lead.
Yeah.
That's AI is doing lead nurturing now, and it'll integrate with a CRM, so you can kind of see what it's doing. Or some of them, it'll kind of create the CRM for you, and you can see what's taking place, and you can look at you can look at the traffic and clients that are all doing it. And if it gets stuck on something, it'll deliver you a message and say, "Hey, you know what? This call right now, I'm a little stuck. Could you intervene?" And you go in and you intervene and chat, and you can talk with the client directly. And we've had leads from AI that have been fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's doing those kinds of things and can increase, like say you're a plumber and you've got a staff and everybody's, in a crawl space fixing pipes and things like that, and you don't wanna miss a call.
Right.
So you can have the thing answer your phone and troubleshoot some problems, and actually and it can do support for you,
Sure. If you
and
train
then
it properly,
if you
correct.
train it properly, it can do some support for
Yep.
you, and on top of that, it can set up times. "Okay, well, you know what? You need that done, then we're gonna go set you up for this time, and you don't miss the lead." So
Right.
there are a lot of positive things right now that are available, that were and reasonably priced,
Yeah.
AI receptionists and things like that. We have those kind of things too.
Way
So
cheaper than a human.
yeah,
Yeah. Which now again, I'm not for replacing humans, but I am all for amplifying what all the humans that work for you can do. And
sure. You can take that person, and
put them somewhere else.
move them to someplace else that might be more of a money-making endeavor instead
Right.
of kind of a hole suck,
Right, revenue generating, absolutely, yeah. Which and the other part of that part, which is fantastic to me, is we live in a world of instant gratification, and so when I have a plumbing need, let's use that one, as an example, I don't wanna wait around, okay? If I have a leak in my house, I don't wanna wait, so if I call
No, you can't
somebody
wait, not.
No, you can't. So if I call somebody, I want to either talk to somebody now, and figure out and feel like somebody's coming out to help me, if I can't get somebody the first call, I'm going to the next plumber and the
Correct.
next and the next. And so that's one way that AI, those type of systems can begin to increase revenue for your plumbing company or whatever
Mhm.
company, right off the rip. Because now you are responding immediately, and that's a huge piece, a huge competitive
Absolutely.
advantage right now. As
Yeah, like a lead for some clients, like a plumber, a lead may only be good for 20 minutes or an
correct,
hour at
correct.
most,
Yep,
right?
it's
So you
expiration
strike
date.
we have a lot of clients who come in and they're on, what is it, Angie's List or whatever it
Oh
was.
yeah,
What
yeah.
was the one that they send the lead out to
Angie's.
4 is it
Yeah,
Angie's?
yeah.
Okay. It used to be called something
I
else,
think
but,
I think they dropped the E because she got a different hairstyle
I think
and
because she got
sued.
sued. Yeah, I think that was
Yeah.
it.
Well, she got sued and had a different
Home
hairstyle.
Advisor, that was it.
Oh,
Home Advisor,
yeah.
right? They buy into Home Advisor, a service company would buy into Home Advisor, and Home Advisor gets a lead that comes in. They have the site optimized, and they say, hey, you know what? We'll get somebody to call you, and they give that lead by charging the vendor, like 40 or $50 a lead. I don't know what it is right now. So Home Advisor, don't sue me if that's wrong, because I really don't know. Um, but they go in and it goes to 4 or 5 different people, and the first one that makes the call,
Right.
oftentimes
Because all plumbers are sitting next to their phone.
Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it can really help. It can really help in lead management, lead generation, scheduling, some basic conversation. We've had clients go, "Is this AI?" Because it really is good. You
Yeah.
can ask me questions, and it's really been spectacular that way. So, and in doing that, it can increase your lead volume.
Right.
And right now, business is rough kind of across the board in most businesses. Every lead matters, certainly does for us. And you wanna make sure that you're taking care of those things very, very well. Now, there's one other thing I wanna bring up. So, uh, we've had clients who have come to us through AI,
Yep.
like an AI search.
Sure.
So, the question is, the big G has been kind of the place to search
Is that
for.
the Google?
It's the Google.
The Google. Okay.
The Google. The Google has been the place to search for. I don't know how old is the thing. 15 years? Something like
25 years?
Is it? Google's not that
98?
old. 98? No, Google hasn't been
Yeah.
around that long.
I think it has.
No.
Don't
No,
question
it's
me.
not. You're wrong.
I don't think
Dude,
I
Google
am.
didn't start being a thing until about 2008 or so.
No.
You can look it up.
I'm gonna.
Couple of guys in a garage. Anyways, Google's been a thing for a long time. And initially, we had Yahoo and all these other things, and there are lots of large language models out there, Perplexity, Grok, and everybody's gonna have their own AI. And when we talk about AI, it's not just one. I mean, there are gonna be lots of AIs out there.
1998. Don't question me.
Okay, you win.
I don't know
Are
why
you
you
still
ever doubt me.
talking?
I don't know why you doubt me.
Has it been that long, really?
Yeah.
98,
You're
Google's
old.
been around that long?
Yes.
Huh. I don't remember it being a
I've only
thing
been
that
doing
early.
SEO since 04.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
Google was the thing then.
No, you haven't been doing SEO since '04. The company's that old.
Oh, that's right. 09.
Don't
Sorry.
question me.
You're right. I'm wrong on that
You
one.
are right.
09. I
Okay.
knew it was an O something.
It was an O something. So people ask, they're going, "Oh, I need to make sure I get listed in AI." And again, we've had clients from it. People have found us in ChatGPT. We're working actively to list our own site and other clients' websites in AIs right now, particularly even in the Google AI overview. Those things can be very good. But does the data at this point in time support that AI is really a good place to look for business?
Interesting that I just saw conflicting data on that.
Really?
Yeah, I think that first of all, I think that's tough to research. Second of all, the few research studies that I've seen initially said it was about 3% roughly
Yeah.
from ChatGPT. I did just see one report that said ChatGPT is referring about up to 20% of business. I don't buy that, not with one study, because there's all kinds of problems with the study. But the point is interesting because I think it's 2 things: generational, and I think that we're on the beginning of the curve.
Are you talking about are you talking about small business kind of stuff? Or are you talking about,
In general.
searches in general? Because there's a difference between searches in general, and of course you got 13-year-olds using ChatGPT also, compared to somebody who's actively searching out a business and trying to find out about it.
No, and I think I'll have to go back to look at the details of the study, but basically the gist of it was people are looking and asking ChatGPT, give me a plumber near me or whatever near me, and that's where they're getting a list. Now, what's also interesting is I've also seen Rand Fishkin is somebody that I follow and listen to
Fishkin.
a lot.
It's kind of a funny last name.
Funny name. Yeah, he was an SEO nerd for years and years and years, and then went to Spark Turo. Anyway, the point is, he did a study. I think it was him or somebody he knew. He just may have been quoting a study, but the point is that you and I can sit with our phones. We have the same type of phones, Android. We can go to our favorite AI and go, give me a plumber near me or a list of plumbers near me, and you and I can search up to about 150 times before
And
we
get a different answer
we get a different answer
each
all
time.
150 times, and the 150th or 49th, whatever, would give us the same list
You had the first time.
Yeah, to match that first time.
Right.
So the randomness of AI, it shows the probabilistic component to how AI functions. It's not as constant, nowhere near as constant as Google is, and even that Google, you and I, we've talked about this for years. We can search the same keyword standing next to each other at the same type of phone, same Wi-Fi, blah blah blah, and we can get different answers, but they're
Reasonably different
reasonably,
answers. You
but
might
they're more consistent.
correct. That's where I
That's
was
my
going to
point.
go.
Yeah, they're more consistent than AI. So there's a randomness to AI, and there's, right now there's not enough links. Now
And
ChatGPT,
some of the information's hard to get also. So if you
correct.
ask for the best, electrician in town, it has to be able to go evaluate that, and there may or may not be a whole lot of information out there to really make a judgment call about
Well, they're
some of
data
that.
points. There's certain data points. They're gonna look at your website. They're gonna look at your Google business profile. That is much more relevant now than it's ever been, and
Mhm.
people
But
are
they're also gonna look at Yelp.
They're going well, the AI is going to look at articles about you, awards, anything on the internet about that particular business. They're going to assimilate all this information to give it back to you, to give you a list that is, a list of your best
Well,
plumbers or
again,
whatever.
it may or may not be true. You can be the
Yep.
crappiest,
Yep.
electrician out there and not have these articles out there, and AI goes, "Well, fantastic." And you can be the best electrician, and again, it review you in a different kind of way based on the information that's on the internet.
Well, at
So
the end of it all, and I know that it's going to still take human discretion to make decisions, no
Mhm.
matter what AI gives you back.
Yes. Well,
So,
I mean, the question boils down to this, Google's had 90% of search for a really long
oh
time,
yeah,
right?
oh yeah.
And the question is Google gonna go away, really? Is it going to be replaced by AI? Is AI gonna go do that? And my answer is no.
No,
I
I
don't I
agree.
don't
I
think
agree.
so, and the reason is, okay, I got a list of 10. What more do I need?
Well, actually, that's a good point, and what I'm seeing now is,
And
again,
and
people are
honestly,
looking at the flow.
the same 10 is kind of important in some respects too. I'm looking for somebody local. I want the same 10. If I'm looking for somebody good, I want the same 10. And if it's giving you different answers, it's like, I don't know what's real.
Well, what you're gonna end up doing is you're gonna go to this is how people are defining the flow of this process now, is when people use AI to search for anything, they get their answer, they go to Google, they look at the
The
map
Google.
listings, the Google, and they look at reviews. Typically, they'll look at bad ones and see what, to evaluate if are the few of the bad ones, are they these crazy people? And they'll look at the responses. Now, if you're not responding to Google business reviews, that's a problem. But they'll look at the business response and see, did the business respond professionally or horribly or what? And that's how they'll begin to discern, who do I want to benefit that business with a call
Right,
for.
but again, you're looking for truth,
Yeah,
and some of those reviews may not be real.
sure enough.
We got one a couple weeks back that's since been removed. It said junk. Never a
Sure,
client,
sure. Yeah, nothing
so
else. One-star junk. Like,
one-star
what?
junk. Yep.
What is that?
Who are you? Never did business with this
No,
person,
man.
so you go to the Google and they remove those kinds of fake reviews for you, and certainly we go and do those things. But there are a lot of people who are not that attentive and
Sure.
don't pay attention to those kinds of things.
Well, they're busy
They're
running
running
their
their
business.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get they don't have time to go do that kind of stuff, and we get that, but again, it's using a source of information to go make judgment calls about someone or something that may or may not be true, and that ultimately is the problem. Elon Musk said on one of the podcasts I saw him on, that ultimately, his goal for Grok is to be truth,
Yeah.
like, for it to be kinda to be able to deliver ultimate truth, and that's the goal. You want what's real, but at this point in time, having absorbed use the internet as its source of information,
Right.
you have to be careful that when you take in information, like, from the thing, like our client did, you wanna assume this is right. Well, you can't make those kinds of assumptions
What's scary to
about
me
businesses or about most anything.
What's scary to me about what Musk said is that truth has become so much more subjective now, it's seemingly, than I think it ever has been. I think you have, division in our country based on political or other reasons, and it's raining out, and you got somebody will say it's raining out, and somebody will stand right beside him and go, "No, it isn't." Like, what? And that's where truth becomes, questioned. Like,
Well,
I don't understand how to work
well,
through that.
it's interesting. I travel in Christian circles and things like that, and one of the things we said all the time is you can use the Bible to prove just about any. You take one verse out of context, you can use it to prove just about anything you believe.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the reality here with the internet. You can pull data from just about anything and prove a presupposition you have already.
Right.
And so again, if the search is for truth right now, using the internet as its source of information,
Right.
how much of the thing is real, how much of the thing is right, and then there are application problems on top of that, like
Right.
this client who applied something to it, which the article isn't a bad article. It gives you an idea about something that could work, but in this particular situation, particularly, it would hurt their business instead of help them.
Sure.
So not only are there truth problems, but you also have application problems as well because it's the situation is bigger than perhaps AI understands.
Well, it brings to question a philosophical issue. Again, is when I was younger, I used to feel like I had a handle on the truth, and I realized the arrogance of that as I get older. And my son and I have had that kind of conversation because we don't always disagree on certain things, and that's fine. But I mean, I still love the kid; he's my son. But what I question him sometimes. I go, "Where do you get your truth?" And he struggles to answer that, as do I. So,
Well, again, you can find anything to prove your own presupposition.
that's the issue, is that I realize how, as I get older, and like you said, I'm having birthdays and all that crap, which is a good thing to have. Keep having those.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, largely because if you don't have them, that's worse. But I realize that truth in that sense is more fluid. But at the end of this all, what we're trying to do is just figure out how to use AI for our own advantage, and honestly, to just generate more revenue.
Mhm.
And that's our goal for what it is.
Absolutely.
So we can argue about the philosophic aspects of it and the ethical aspects of it all day, but what we do know is that when we use AI for like a voice receptionist, AI receptionist, or appointment setter, lead facilitator, that kind of thing, these things are tools that amplify what your business is capable of doing, and that's the benefit of it all. That's the advantage of it. So
Right.
beyond that, really, it's not worth having that argument too much.
Well, and the things that have generated revenue prior, search engine optimization, paid ads, social media marketing, guess what? They still work.
Yep.
And these things are not going away, at least anytime quickly. Will AI come up with something 5 years from now? We'll be having a different conversation
Well,
probably 5
let's
years
talk
from
about
now.
that for a second, because ChatGPT has talked about it, and I don't know if they've actually implemented this, but they will be running
No,
ads.
they're running ads already.
They
I've
are
seen
doing
them.
it. Okay,
Yes.
I knew they were talking
Saw
about
it.
it
Mhm.
recently, within the last month or two, but so that'll be a thing.
It'll be interesting to see how that affects truth,
Correct.
right?
Right.
So
Right.
so if
Right.
you spend money on chat, do you get an elevated
Yeah.
response?
Yeah. Now, here's another thing. Google Maps. Google Maps now has an AI function. Okay, so now and guess
And
where
and
they
we should clarify, not only that, but organic search is using AI to help distinguish these things too. So absolutely, but these kinds of applications, although, again, it's a list of 1 through 10 in the organic section, you think, "Oh, well, that's not AI." Yes, it is.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It
People
is.
talk about the
There's AI
algorithm.
functionality and all of that.
They talk about the algorithm, and that's not actually accurate. There's a series of algorithms that Google uses in order to determine what links are on the top on page one. Now, going back to the map thing, though, guess what? One of the major data points they pull to present information on Google Maps: your Google business profile. Understand something very clearly about Google. That system is narcissistic. They
Oh,
want
yeah.
you in their community, in their ecosystem, and they want to keep you in that ecosystem as much as humanly possible. So that's where, again, I go back to, if you're not using your Google business profile, you're missing the boat. So that's something that needs to happen, and we can help with that. But
You'd be amazed how many business owners haven't even claimed it.
Yeah, recently we just had that
Yeah,
issue.
somebody they got reviews and things like that in there,
Yep.
and
They didn't even claim it. They didn't even know it was out there. So that's a thing. But I mean, I think those systems are going to evolve more and more. So, that's where the average business owner has their head wrapped around making, whatever doing their business, doing whatever they're doing for business. But these things are advancing without them even being aware.
I also think that, at this stage of where we are economically, and again, this is not my first rodeo. We've been more than that.
What number rodeo are you on?
I can't count that many.
Got your
I
chaps on?
I can't go I don't know where that will make the final cut. It might. It might.
It might. You're one of the village people. You're
That's
the
right.
cowboy.
Um, so again, we've been at this 22 years and, 2 recessions, we've seen 2 recessions, uh, and I think people are wondering if the kinds of marketing tools that we've commonly used over the last, 20 years continue to work. Is a website valuable? Is SEO valuable? Is social media marketing valuable? And the answer is yes, and that right now what we're seeing is not so much AI influencing search, but is really more an economic downturn in
Yeah.
the economy, more than anything else. When people don't have money to spend, and again, my 2 cents, election years are terrible. Small businesses tighten up until it becomes apparent who's gonna win, and then it doesn't matter either side. When it becomes apparent, money generally starts flowing again. Um, but I've seen 2 recessions, 2008, and when was the last one? Not long,
Yes.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yes. So, I would tell you that the economic position of the average small business owner right now is worse than any recession I've ever seen. This has been the last year has been the strongest economic downturn, I've ever seen in 22 years worth of business. So that being said, I think people confuse, is AI taking the business away? Is AI doing this? Is AI doing that? And they wanna pull back or reinvest in AI versus this. The search volume on AI maybe not so good right now, and again, randomized answer, so, whether what you get is valuable in that or not is yet to be seen, and don't confuse that for an economic downturn, because if you're on the top of Google and that's where people continue to look for a business or for a service, and people are just not buying like they used to buy because they're kinda holding their cash back, whether it's a small business or a consumer. Don't confuse what's happening with AI for perhaps an economic downturn. And during an economic downturn, you wanna turn up your marketing, not turn it down,
Correct.
if at all possible. So, you wanna invest, and I would say invest in people who come to us are already getting some of the basics on these kinds of things already. You wanna invest in search, you wanna invest in AI, and if you're not talking to somebody who's doing SEO, and by the way, we should probably say that SEO, ranking somebody in SEO and ranking somebody in AI, the disciplines are not wholly dissimilar.
Well, let me
There are some different ones, but
maybe you want me to speak to that as your SEO nerd. Well, I mean, because okay, the terms people are using, SEO, of course, has been around for years. AEO, answer engine optimization, and then GEO, generative engine optimization. Are there subtle differences? Yeah, you can probably make that case, but let's be clear to your point of, SEO. AI has affected SEO. It
100%.
has.
Yes.
Is it reduced traffic? Yes. Significantly depends on the industry.
Or depends on the search.
Correct.
You
But
know?
SEO is the way I'm telling people now, and I've definitely got this in my head, is that SEO is essentially essential for AEO and GEO.
Correct.
Okay, so if you don't have solid SEO, you're not going to be suggested or ranked
Correct.
in the search engine or in the AI.
Correct. And that's exactly what I'm saying. The disciplines are not wholly
No. Yeah.
separate.
Yeah. They're well, a answer engine optimization supposedly is more about how AI will pull references from all around the internet, not just your website, not just your Google business profile, but throughout the web. So
And
if you
maybe
have
digging into Reddit and things like that where people are
Sure, sure.
interacting,
Your social
you know?
media, articles about you, articles about awards you've won, that kind of thing, to suggest, to recommend you that way. So that's more where AI is a piece of that. SEO is definitely a fundamental part of what has to happen before you get to that. So, that's where I don't think SEO is going away. I don't think Google's going away. I certainly don't think websites are going away because AI needs those data points desperately in order to learn about you, in order to recommend you.
Yep.
So that's kind of it. I'd say the other one, whether it's AEO or GEO or EIEIO, some of what we've been able to do is put different schema markup on sites and do frequently asked questions and,
Mhm.
and writing in a way that is easy for AI to understand. Those things have helped our clients, our SEO clients, get listed in AI overview and maybe in others. I had a pediatrician once we started the first month, he got his first client from ChatGPT, and he was stunned, and as was I,
Yeah.
honestly.
Surprise.
Yeah,
It worked.
yeah. I was like, "Woo, yay!" It was super
Yeah.
validating, and he's a few from ChatGPT, and he's thrilled to tell us about it, which is fantastic. So, that's a result of good, solid SEO techniques. So
Yeah.
that has to happen.
So I mean, to summarize, Google's not going away, paid ads are not going away, social media marketing not going away, what you're gonna have I mean, AI is coming and it's kind of an add-on, it's just more. It's
Well,
something else to kinda invest
it
in
is.
the days ahead.
Well, and let's be clear about the AI receptionist and the techniques, the lead nurturing components to AI. Those things are really exceptionally helpful if you already are doing lead generation in some
Correct. Yeah, if you're
capacity.
spending money on leads, it's, like,
Yes.
ridiculous
Yeah,
not to do it at this
and
point in
and
time.
what's
Everything gets responded to.
well, what's frustrating too, like we've had multiple clients who say, "Oh, this isn't working. We're doing lead generation," and they're like, they're not getting calls." We've had the people that we've shown data and said, "Here you are. These are the calls you're getting. What's happening?" Well, it turns out they weren't answering the phone.
Yeah, I
That's
remember that.
exactly where AI can close that gap.
Yeah, that's that real estate agent.
Yes, and I mean, lovely woman, but answer
Yeah.
your phone.
Yeah, we
That's
were driving Google Ads. We had
Yes.
she was paying for Google Ads, and 3 months later said, "I haven't gotten a single phone call.
Right,
Can I
right.
come in and talk?" We sat down around the conference table, her and her other real estate agents that worked under her, and, she said,
Lovely
I'm
people.
not" lovely people,
Sure.
but, when the time came down and she said, "I'm not getting any calls," we pulled up the Google paid ads and go, "Can we look at January 3rd in your
Yep.
phone at 2:30 PM and just look and see if this person called?" Yep, they called,
Boom.
and you didn't answer the call.
Wasted lead. And that's
Wasted
where
lead.
AI, lead nurturing systems and appointment setting systems, they may seem expensive on the front end, but they're saving you money
Yep,
by making sure you don't miss calls from your lead generation efforts, you know? That's a huge issue right there.
yep,
They're not moving on to the competitors because they're getting responded to immediately, instantly. So there's that part of it. I mean, there's a bunch of benefits on
yeah,
that. So, but I don't recommend those kind of systems if you're not already getting calls on a consistent basis or
mhm,
doing something to generate leads that
yeah,
way.
yeah. Well, think about these kinds of things. Um, we'd say invest in invest certainly if you're not doing search engine optimization because that matters with respect to AI, you wanna
Sure,
invest in SEO still.
sure.
You wanna invest in paid ads, you wanna invest in social media marketing if that's the right place for your business to go be found, and it's not for everybody,
It is not, right.
but you wanna evaluate these things, and you wanna continue to invest in them and not take away one and go, "Okay, you know what? It'd be very unwise right now for somebody to walk away from this conversation and go, 'Well, AI is coming, that's all I'm gonna go invest in.'" No,
Yeah, no.
no. Search volume's just not there right now.
Right, and it bears, to say that it's worth having a free consultation with us
Yeah,
or somebody like us who will shoot straight. We don't have pre-packaged plans for people because to me, I don't like those because
well, it's
it
not scalable
well,
either,
it's not just
some
that. It's if I have an agency that has prepackaged scales or prepackaged stuff, and I go in to talk to them, then what are they selling me? They're selling me their packages, and
right.
do their packages fit what I need? Maybe, maybe not. So I like to customize and individualize every recommendation I make because to me, if you come in and talk to me as a business owner, I look at what makes the most sense for you and has the highest potential of return on investment for your marketing dollars for you. Because I can do a bunch of different things. It's not about what I can do; it's
Right.
what makes the most sense for you and your business and your industry.
Correct.
So that's the conversation worth having in my head.
Yeah.
So, that's why I've always been resistant about packages.
Yeah. Well, if you have questions, we work here in the United States. About any of this stuff, we're happy to have a conversation. 678-325-4007.
What was that number?
678-325-4007. I'm extension 102. You can reach out to me.
I have no
Or
idea
Cliff.
what my
Do you know what your
extension is.
is?
I don't
You
know.
know,
I
and
don't ever
you
call
don't need to know.
myself.
Lindy will direct the call to you anyway.
Yeah, I
So,
never call myself.
yeah.
No.
Say I wanna
I don't
talk
even
to
call you.
Cliff. No, really? What you
Well, I
yeah,
do, but on your cell
not yeah, we
phone.
don't use
Yeah.
that, anyways.
Carrier pigeons.
You can email, me, john@makeitloud.net or cliff@makeitloud.net too if you have questions, and we'd be happy to entertain any conversations you might have about your own business,
Yeah.
and how we can assist.
We wanna make you more money. That's
That's
kind
the
of our goal.
goal,
That's
and
it.
ultimately, that's a result of digital marketing, lead generation so that you get to put food on the table for your, family and the families of your employees and the people you care about.
And we really do go after it like that. Well, I think in all the folks I've talked to, our competitors, yada, yada, I think we're one of the more aggressive
Yeah,
agencies
we
in
really
that
are.
regard.
I would agree.
Um,
From knowing how others go about it, it's really
yeah.
true.
Yeah. I'm just shocked that others don't go at it like we do, but whatever.
It's all good.
It is all good.
All right.
We done here?
We are. We're at the Improving Your Digital Marketing podcast. I'm John, and that over there is
It's Cliff. Yeah.
it is Cliff.
Yeah. The old man.
And we're out.
All right.
Until next time.
Thank you for listening to the Improving Your Digital Marketing podcast by Make It Loud. Be sure to follow, subscribe, and download wherever you get your podcasts. To hear other episodes, visit www.makeitloud.net and be sure to follow us on your favorite social media platform. The views, thoughts, and opinions of the guest on this podcast are their own. The information contained in this podcast is for general information purposes only and is not intended to be legal advice. The Improving Your Digital Marketing podcast is produced in studios in Atlanta, Georgia.